She will play it because she's a crazy reviewer, gamer. Hopefully this song is shorter for you guys because she thinks the last one was too long, but she still is a crazy cat lady, you gamer. Hopefully this is the last one because like before, I don't like singing these songs.
Crazy Cat Lady Gamer Reviewer or Martha Butler does not own any trailers or pictures. I use them under fair use for educational and entertainment purposes. Hi everybody, Martha here. So I'm officially making this after the Wonder E3 thing. I made some afterwards, some before that will come to you guys. But this one, definitely after that fiasco. Good fiasco though. Anyway, we're gonna be reviewing Labyrinth. I did say I would review these guys for you guys, and the one I decided to review, this is one I know the best because it's the one I watch more often of these three, and I sure do miss Dave Bowie. Yep, the world is not the same without him. So basically, this movie, it's about a girl named Sarah who's about I would say 16. The oldest she's 16, the youngest she is 13 because she's pretty tall. But she's in that age range. But she has not fully grown out of fairy tales and stuff like that. So she's out in a park playing with her dog and pretending that she's in a fantasy world. When an owl lands near her, and she says a line, "I will castle beyond the goblin sea. Take child back you have stolen. For your will is as great as mine. My kingdom is great." And she can't remember the last line, and she pulls out her book and she reads, "You have no power over me." So she looks at the clock and sees that it's 7 o'clock at night, and she realizes that she's late. And she tells her dog Merlin to let's go, which is a big cheap dog. And they both run, and while this is going on, Dave Bowie is playing singing "No One Can Blame You" from Walking Away, that song. And she runs home, and she sees her stepmom, and she apologizes for being late. And they're apparently her stepmom and her dad are going to go on a date and leave her to babysit her stepbrother Toby, to babysit him. And she does not like the idea of babysitting her little stepbrother. Nope, she does not. And so her dad says, "We're worried about you. Like, I can't do anything right, can I?" So she runs into her room and notices that, and she's like playing with makeup and stuff like that. And I love this part. Like every single time I watch this scene in her room, I notice something different in it. And like, you notice like all of her characters. That's a lot. Like the 4 characters she meets that she becomes friends with. I mean, the 3 friends she becomes friends with are in it, and some of the other ones that annoy her and get in her way are also there. and you notice that one of my favorite places is in there, cats. So, yeah, every single time you look at this, you see this scene, you learn something new about her. And her dad, like, speaks through the door. We're gonna leave now. Like, you really want to talk, didn't you? Brackley, break down the door. And she, like, runs to her bed and notices, Lancelot! Someone has been in my room again! I hate that. I hate that. So by this time, her dad and her stepmom leaves. And apparently her and her stepmom don't have the best relationship now. So I guess they just recently got married. So not the best relationship. Not best relationship with her stepbrother. And she goes into the room and realizes there's Lancelot on the floor in her stepbrother in her little brother's room. And she says, she grabs it, someone take me away from this awful place. And she Toby's crying. Like, what? You want a story? Okay. And she is complaining to about the baby, once upon a time there was a girl who had to babysit the little baby and she was tortured and stuff like that. And while this is going on, she's keeps on saying the girl knew that there was a goblin king, and the goblin king will take the baby forever and ever and ever and turn him into a goblin. And when this is going on, the goblins are listening to her say this, and we don't know where they're at. As far as we know, they're in the baby's closet. They could be in the baby's closet waiting for her to say it right, because when the goblin says, listen, she's gonna say it. Say what? You shut up. Listen, she's gonna say the words. I can bear it no longer. Goblin King, wherever you may be, take this child far away from me. It's like, that's not it. Let's do that rabbit. It doesn't even start with I witch. And she she's holding Toby while she's doing this, and she's trying to make Toby stop crying. You're not comforting this baby very well. And she goes, I know I wish I'd take the baby away. I wish the baby would come and take the baby. Wish you come, the goblin claim and take the baby away right now. It's so hard, is it? And so she puts Toby's down and walks out of the room, and she turns off the light and says, I wish the goblin king would take you away right now. And she leaves the room, turns around, notices that something's different, because she hears in the crib that it's making weird little sounds. Something's inside the blanket, and she goes towards the crib and moves the blanket, and there's the baby gone, and notices the baby's gone. So she looking around the room. The lights are still off, and the goblins are everywhere. Every time she looks somewhere, there's a goblin there, but when she looks, it's gone. And the owl that she saw that was in the park earlier is trying to get in. So finally the owl finds a way in, and this is when we see the Goblin King himself, Bowie, or is he in this movie called Jareth, and all his glory and all his tight pants. And all his black leather and glittering joy. And Sarah says, "You're him. You're the Goblin King. Like my brother back." He says, "What's said is said." Yep. And he tells her, "Sarah, go back to your room. Play with your toys and your costumes. Forget about the baby." It's I can't. I brought you a gift. And he it's first it's balls and it turns into a snake. And it's a wish. It's a gift. And this is not him doing this, it's somebody else doing it. It will show you your dreams. But this is not a gift for an ordinary girl who takes care of a screaming baby. Do you want it? Then forget about the baby! Like, I can't. And it turns into a snake, she throws it at him, and then like it goes down, it's a goblin. You're no mess for me, Sarah. I need my baby brother back. He's there in my castle. So this is when we see the labyrinth for the first time and forever, and stuff like that. And it's basically just a picture. And again, so Jarrett tells him, you have 13 hours to solve the labyrinth for your baby brother, because comes one of us forever. Just a pity. And this is when she meets Hoggle. That's right, his name is Hoggle, not Hogwarts. Not all the other names he gets called. His name is Hoggle. And what is Hoggle doing while this is going on? What is Hoggle doing when he first meets Sarah? Go and pee. Seriously. The worst humor ever. Toilet humor. Not funny. And so, like, excuse me. Oh, it's you. And so he's taking a little break from spraying fairies, and Sarah like picks up one and says, "You monster! Ow! Huh? It bit me. Well, what do you expect fairies to do?" And she's like, "I thought they do nice things like grant you wishes." Well, so you know one, don't it? So she asks him how to get inside the labyrinth, and she shows him the door. You get in there. And she walks in, and they both walk in at the same time. And he asks her, would you go left or right? She like goes, they both look the same. Well, you're not going to get very far, are you? So she picks, I think she picks left. And he warns her, you take way too many things for granted. And she tells her to take that labyrinth. I think she takes maybe she takes right. I can't remember. So she goes that way that he told her to go. And she says her name. He says his name wrong. She says, "Thanks for a lot, Hogwarts." Like, oh no, it's Hoggle, and don't say I didn't warn you. And this is when she goes, and first she like's very confident about it, like she's jumping over stuff. Then along the way she starts running, and then she stops eventually because she thought, why did they call this labyrinth at all? It goes on and on and on. And she gets more confident again, but then she like starts hitting the walls and stuff like that, and like slides down, and she finds herself a worm, and the worm like gives her some advice, like, you still take the weird things for granted. Look at that wall. Look for that wall over there. And she goes, hello. Did you just say hello? Like, no, I said hello. Well, that's close enough. So Sarah walks up to the wall and notices that the wall moves, and she like tries to go. Like, hang on, and that was very helpful. Don't go that way. I said, don't go that way. Never go that way. And she goes the other way. Like the woman says, and she kept on going down that way to go straight to that castle. This is why we don't listen to worms. You would have gotten Toby back faster. So she keeps on going on, and this is when the best part happens, because it shows back to Jareth being bored, and all the goblins around him, and the babies, and Toby's crying, and he just walks up to one of the goblins and says, "You mommy the babe. What babe? Babe with the power. What power? Power of voodoo. Hoodoo? You do. Do what? Mommy the babe." It was quiet. A goblin, baby. Yep, that song's like the best part. I could probably sing that song. Oh, probably sing that song to you guys. I know my baby cried as hard as babe could cry. What could I do? Now I want to sing it to you guys, but I don't want to get in trouble. So while this is going on, Sarah is still going for the labyrinth. Cannot hear it. Probably not. Wish she could. And she's keep on going through stuff. But while this is going on, she use her lipstick to make markers so she knew which way she went. And every single time she makes a marker, a little goblin comes out and moves it to where it's the opposite direction. And Jarrett start throwing up Toby up in the air to make him happy. And he goes, mine 9 hours and 23 minutes. You be mine. And by this time, Toby has stopped crying. He likes the song. So, and right when the song ends, she makes another marker, and the little guy says, "You got it, I got it," and moves it over. And she noticed that's a dead end. And when she moved back, and it's somebody's been messing with my markers. What horrible places! It's not fair. And right where she was, there's these two guys, and she says, really four, because there's one on top of each shield and one on the bottom, so really 4. And she goes, that, and they said, that's not fair. Ha 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 ha. Well, that's only half of it. And she says, this is a dead end a minute ago. No, that's a dead end behind you. And so they tell her that one's telling the truth, one's lying, and she has to pick which one is telling the truth, which one's lying, and because one's going to lead her to the Goblin Castle, and one's going to lead her to certain death. Ooh. And she asks which one's which, and this is when she finds out one is lying, one's telling the truth. So she has to figure it out, and she goes to this one, and asks him, and so what is this one that goes to the castle? And he says, yes. Then the other door goes to certain death, and this one goes to the castle. Do you think I'm getting smarter? It's a piece of cake, and she picks the wrong one. Darn! And she falls down, and a bunch of hands have her, and help! What do you mean help? We are helping. We're helping hands. Let me see if I can do it. We're helping hands. You're hurting. Would you like us to let go? And they let her go, and they say, well, come on, which way? Which way? Up or down? Come on. We haven't got all day. She's like, oh, well, we're going down, so let's go down. She chose down. Was that wrong? Too late now. So she goes down, and Jared's having one of his balls in his hand. And notices that she should have given up by now. She'll never give up. So she she finds Hoggle in there, and Hoggle's supposed to lead her back to the beginning to realize where she starts all over again. But she invents Hoggle to have her take her to the and by offering her a plastic bracelet, and he clears when the door open, and it was first it was a closet, and he turns into a regular door where they can leave. And they go for the door, and they see that because they were in a Loubiette, and when they get outside the room, they notice that the walls are talking and say, "Don't go on, go back while you still can. This is not the way." And one's saying, "Beware, soon this will be too late." And Hog was oh, don't listen to them. You were going the right way. Don't listen to them. Oh, no, you're not. Shut up. Sorry, just doing my job. Well, you don't have to. Let's have a big reaction. So they keep on walking, and then they notice that there's another goblin right there, and that's actually Jareth. Because he said nothing, not because he takes out the crossbow. Nothing, tra la la. And he says Hoggle's name wrong when he says hi to him, and he asks Sarah, "How you doing, my Labyrinth?" Like, it's a piece of cake. Really? And how about we start this is with the clock and make it go where it's going faster? He says, "It's not fair!" And she says, "You say that a lot, don't you? I wonder best with parents, is it? So the Labyrinth's a piece of cake, is it? Well, I wonder how you do with this little slice." And he froze the ball, and it turns out, and it got bigger, and Tom goes, "Oh no, the cleaner! What? Run!" So they start running, and they have to break down one of the walls because there's a cage stopping them from moving, and they break down one of the walls, and they go up a ladder, and you could swear, like, while this whole entire time, you keep on looking around, you can see Jarrett's face and the rocks, because you see Jarrett's face when they look down the ladder, and when they get out, they come up, and they're coming out of a jar. Yeah. And this is when they find a guy who does not give them any help at all, and yet Sarah still pays him because he has a bird on the head as a hat, and he gives her some advice, but you didn't have to give her that. He didn't tell you nothing. And the rat in the hat's going, "Well, there goes a couple of suckers. They just bite the pin in your head." So they continue going on, and this is when they run into Pluto, who's getting tortured by a bunch of mean people who are using bite marks to bite him, and he's tied up. And Sarah is and Huggle runs off because he heard goodbye, and she tries grabbing his she grabbed all his stuff to make him stop from running. Earlier Huggle's keep the stuff because he likes jewelry, so she has that stuff, and he tells him keep the stuff. So runs off, and she asks, "I thought you were my friend." No, Hoggle has friends to no one. And he says, "Hoggle, you coward!" So Sarah faces Pluto and finds out is in trouble. And Pluto starts roaring, and rock throws over to her, a little bitty rock, and throws it at the guys. And they run off because the helmets keep on where they can't see, and they start biting them. What they're biting with Pluto with, and she goes over there and unties him and helps him get down. And friend, I'm yes, I'm Sarah. Oh, Sarah. And he asks her, "Do you know the way out?" No. And so she found a new friend, and they those two go on, and Hoggle, and we see Hoggle walking back, and we notice that he bumps into Jareth, and Jareth gives him a ball that turns into a pear, and she "It's not going to hurt the little lady, is it? Oh, why don't you concerned? Put the back up, Paul Brain." And he threatens him, "If she ever kisses you, I'll turn you into a prince." "You will? Prince in the lands of state!" Right, Sully? Right! Prince in the lands of state! So, what's the fruit gonna do to Sarah? We'll find out. And Sarah bumps into these other two doors, but she chooses the one that has them holding the ring in the mouth, and she takes out the ring first, puts it back in, and she needs it to order the door to open. You have to get the knock, And this is when her and Pluto get separated, because Pluto was scared and asked her to take his hand, but he falls down, and so she's here alone. And this is the most awkward moment ever, because this moment did not need to happen in this movie. The green screen's terrible, and you see these little red guys that were also in her room. She had to toy them, and then they start singing, "Had no problem, no problem. Got no spook, ain't no spooking." And they start throwing their heads everywhere. "Don't throw my head like that." And stuff like that. And they ask Sarah, "Her head don't come off." "Of course it doesn't." "My head doesn't come off." and she runs off because she said to throw their heads. Like, that's not fair. And she runs, like, it's just, "Leave me alone." And Hoggle saves her by throwing down rope to her, and then she climbs up, and she escapes from those guys, and Hoggle's like, "Get away." And this is when she kisses him, and he says, "Don't kiss me, don't kiss me." And they fall down a hole, and this is when we see the bog on the turtles stank. And it's just basically this is the river that farts. What toilet humor. and apparently it stinks, so this is a river that farts and burps and stuff like that. And Hoggle almost fell in, but he grabbed onto something, and they helped him. He helped her up, but he falls down and lands on Pluto. I keep on, and he sat, and Pluto was on top of Hoggle, so he gets up, and they continue on, and this is when they bump into Sir Didymus, which is a little fox who either has been around the pog too long and gotten used to the smell, or he's lost his sense of smell. And you have to ask Sir Didymus to go by in order to pass the bridge. And and Pluto grabs Sir Didymus, and Hoggle goes on ahead and goes across the bridge, but him and Pluto have a little battle, and Pluto beats him, and Sir Didymus says, "We're now brothers." And you're Sir Pluto. Ugh. And Sarah asks him, "Can we go across now?" "No, you didn't let the ball, my lady. You shall not pass." So, and he he must ask my permission. "Well, can we have your permission then?" "Well, I guess. Yes." "Thank you, my sir." And she starts to cross, and this is when the bridge starts to go down, and she grabs onto the trees, and Pluto starts screaming and calls for the rocks, and the rocks come up and go roll in and save Sarah, and she crosses over, and this is when Sir Didymus calls his sheepdog, which is not Merlin. It's a different dog. It's I cannot remember his sheepdog, but it's not Merlin. But because sometimes they use a real dog, sometimes they use a puppet for him. And he crosses, and so does Pluto, and they keep on going. And this is when Hoggle tries to throw the fur into the water, and "I wouldn't do that if I were you." She gets hungry, and this is when Hoggle gives her the fruit, and she bites a bite, and she starts imagining things. And this is the only scene where there's probably no puppets in it, because it's basically all humans that's wearing costumes. And her and Jareth have a dance, and because she's separated from them, and he does his whole entire ball trick again, and she sees the little stick crystal thing that was in her room, and that's when she has a scene, and she dances with him, and she realizes something's wrong, and she like uses a chair to break the bubbles, and she bumps into some like trash goblin, and the trash goblin shows her back to a room and notices her room, and she goes back in, sits in the bed, falls asleep for like 5 seconds, and thinks it's she's back home, and she like opens the door, and nope, not back home now. And she forgot about Toby, and the trash goblin is like showing her stuff from her, like showing her toys and stuff like that, and she finds the book that and she starts reading lines from it, and like, take back the child you must stolen, and she like realizes that I have to save Toby, and she gets out of the room, and Pluto like grabs her and like takes her out of the room, and they realize that they're at the gates of the castle to the Goblin City, and the guard's sleeping, but Sir Legitimus is determined to wake him up. Let them all wake up, and they go inside. They go out inside, and Pluto's not. Hoggle's not with them because he blames himself. I lost my only friend, but they get attacked by this big machine guard thing. Like, that puppet must be hard to operate. It must be very hard to operate. And Hoggle's like up. This is when Hoggle comes up and saves them from it, and Sir Didymus's dog runs off, and stuff like that. So after Hoggle beats the big mean thing, he tells Sarah, I understand if you won't forgive me. Like, I forgive you, Hoggle. And Sir Didymus gives him Sir Hoggle. And they continue on, and Hoggle says, let's chase that brat Jareth who's boss. And they go, and they do that. And they have but they also have another big battle with a bunch of the goblins, because one of the goblins tells Jareth that she woke up and she's still coming. Like, he said, stop her! She must not give up. And they have their little battle. Pluto calls his rocks, and they make it to the castle, stuff like that. And Sarah says she must face him alone, and she's got like an hour left, stuff like that. And she's like, well, that's the way it is. You must face him. And like, do you need us? Like, I'll call. And she says, thank you, all of you. And she runs off, and like, reminds me. There's a picture in Sarah's room that this reminds me of. I've seen the picture where I mentioned it in my Kingdom Hearts walkthrough, because there is this picture on her wall that has like people like walking upstairs, like upside down. And if I find it online, I'll show it to you guys. But this is what basically happens, and Jareth's like comes through the room, and he like, everything I've done for you. And he walks right through her. And says, I moved the stars from no one. And most of this is like him. Most of it's dummies. Most of it's stunt doubles. But it's still his voice singing, your eyes can be so cruel, just as I can be so cruel. And she notices that Toby's there too, and he's walking upside down too, and sideways and stuff like that, like, and crawling upside down and stuff like that. And she's the only one that can't do this. Like, Sarah, what happened? And Jareth's song turned sad. Like, what happened? Why is the song sad now? And he stops singing, and she tries to reach Toby, but she can't. and she like jumps down when she sees Toby and the walls like go away, and Jared like comes out in a new outfit. Like every single time we see him, he's wearing a different outfit, and this one's all white, and he like offers her more time, but he also offers her to love me, and I'll be your slave. And she's trying to remember the lines from the book. Made it onto the castle beyond the Goblin City. Take back the child you have stolen. So he offers one of his balls, and she's like, I can't never remember my line. Love me, and I'll be your slave. And she says, you have no power over me. And she finally remembers that line, and he throws it up, and he turns into the owl and flies off. And this is when he realized, and she goes up to Toby's room and finds out he's there. He was just sleeping, and he hands him Lancelot, and she goes into her room. Lancelot was a teddy bear. I should have probably told you guys that. And goes into her room, and she like starts seeing Hoggle and Pluto and Sir Didymus everywhere. And she like, I need you, always. Like, and Hoggle says, why didn't you say so? And the movie ends, and we see the owl outside, and like, I wish I was part of that party. Like, sorry, Jared, you had your chance. You were not invited to that party. So the movie ends, and like they do the underground song. And what do I think about this movie? I'm happy I got it. Only thing I did not remember was that dog's name. So I did make a Photoshop back in college of it. I don't know if it's still on my computer. I doubt it. I'll show it to you guys if it is. And it's just a drawing I made made it back in college. Hopefully I still have it. I'll show it to you guys. I did a lot of work on it, so I hope it's still on here. And because I didn't use this computer to make it, so I doubt it's still on there. But other things are still on there from that class, so we'll see. And so I love this movie, but some parts are dated, and it's the 80s. What do you expect? So I give it an 8 out of 10. Let me go and get my little goblin.
I am not a goblin. I'm a kitty.
I know you're not a goblin, Sully. So what do you give this movie, Sully?
For pause.
So, bye guys. Like, share, and subscribe.
Bye.